Earth's defiance. The holographic display flickered to life in the center of the United Earth Council chamber, casting an eerie blue glow across the faces of the assembled world leaders. General Akira Tanaka, her weathered features set in a grim expression, stepped forward to address the gathering. "Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm about to share with you is classified at the highest level," she began, her voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Our deep space listening posts have intercepted communications from the Galactic Council. They're planning to restrict Earth's technological growth, citing concerns about our potential for instability." A murmur of disbelief and anger rippled through the chamber. Chancellor Maria Rodriguez of the South American Union leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "On what grounds? We've been nothing but cooperative since joining the galactic community." General Tanaka nodded, understanding the Chancellor's frustration. "It seems our rapid advancement in the past decade has made some council members uncomfortable. They fear we might upset the balance of power in the sector." "This is outrageous," thundered Premier Zhao of the Asian Confederation, slamming his fist on the table. "We have every right to develop our technology as we see fit. We're not answerable to them." As the chamber erupted into heated debate, Dr. Samantha Chen sat quietly in her observer's seat, her mind racing. As the lead scientist at the Global Advanced Research Project, GARP, she knew something that could change everything, but revealing it now would be risky. President Amelia Clark of the North American Alliance raised her hand, silencing the room. "Before we decide on a course of action, we need to understand our options. Dr. Chen, you've been unusually quiet. GARP has been working on something big, hasn't it? Something that might be relevant to this situation." All eyes turned to Samantha. She took a deep breath, knowing that her next words would alter the course of human history. "Yes, Madam President. We've made a breakthrough in energy generation that could revolutionize our capabilities. But if I may, I'd like to brief you all in a more secure setting." Hours later, in a top-secret underground facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Chen stood before a select group of world leaders and military officials. Behind her loomed a massive device, pulsing with an otherworldly energy. "What you're looking at," she explained, "is the quantum flux generator. It harnesses energy directly from the quantum vacuum, providing virtually limitless power with zero emissions." General Tanaka's eyes widened. "Are you saying we've solved our energy crisis?" Samantha nodded. "That's just the beginning. The applications go far beyond mere power generation. We're talking about shields that could withstand direct hits from antimatter weapons, propulsion systems that could take us to the stars in weeks instead of years, and weaponry that could, well, let's just say it would level the playing field against any alien technology." President Clark stepped closer to the device, her face illuminated by its pulsing glow. "Why haven't we heard about this before?" "Security concerns, Madam President," Samantha replied. "We feared that if the Council got wind of this, they might try to shut us down. It seems our fears were justified." Chancellor Rodriguez frowned. "But now that they're planning to restrict us anyway, we have nothing to lose by developing this technology further." "And everything to gain," added Premier Zhao, a gleam in his eye. President Clark turned to face the group, her decision already made. "Dr. Chen, you have the full backing of the United Earth Council. Whatever resources you need, you'll have them. General Tanaka, I want our defenses bolstered immediately. We'll use the quantum flux technology to upgrade our military capabilities as quickly and covertly as possible." "And the Galactic Council?" asked Chancellor Rodriguez. "We'll stall them," President Clark replied, her jaw set with determination. "We'll engage in talks, express our concerns, play for time. Meanwhile, we prepare. If they decide to force the issue," she paused, looking each person in the eye, "we'll be ready." As the leaders dispersed to set the plan in motion, Samantha remained behind, staring at the quantum flux generator. The weight of responsibility settled heavily on her shoulders. Her life's work, meant to elevate humanity, might now be the key to its survival. Over the next few months, Earth hummed with covert activity. Under the guise of routine upgrades, military installations worldwide were fitted with quantum flux technology. Shipyards worked around the clock, retrofitting the fledgling Earth defense fleet with advanced shields and weapons. Meanwhile, in diplomatic chambers across the galaxy, Earth's ambassadors engaged in a delicate dance of words with the Galactic Council. They expressed shock at the notion of technological restrictions, argued for fair treatment, and demanded evidence of any wrongdoing. It was a masterclass in bureaucratic maneuvering designed to buy time. But time, it seemed, was running out. On a crisp autumn morning, as golden leaves fell in the gardens outside the United Earth Council chamber, an emergency session was called. The holographic display crackled to life, showing the stern face of Ambassador Laura Tazen, Earth's representative to the Galactic Council. "Madam President, honored leaders," she began, her voice tight with tension. "The Council has lost patience. They've issued an ultimatum: cease all advanced research and submit to a full technological audit, or face sanctions. They're mobilizing a peacekeeping fleet as we speak." The chamber fell silent, the gravity of the situation sinking in. This was the moment they had been preparing for, hoping would never come. President Clark stood, her voice unwavering as she addressed the assembly. "Ambassador Tazen, please convey this message to the Galactic Council. Earth respectfully declines their demands. We have committed no crime, broken no laws. We will continue to develop our technology as we see fit, as is our sovereign right." She paused, her eyes sweeping across the room, taking in the resolute faces of Earth's leaders. "And if the Council chooses to respond with force, they will find us ready to defend ourselves. We do not seek conflict, but neither will we bow to intimidation." As Ambassador Tazen's hologram flickered out, the chamber erupted into a flurry of activity. Orders were issued, defenses activated, and the people of Earth prepared for what was to come. In her lab, Dr. Samantha Chen worked feverishly, pushing the quantum flux technology to its limits. She knew that the fate of humanity might rest on the advancements they could make in the coming days. As night fell, she stepped outside for a moment, looking up at the stars. Somewhere up there, a fleet was assembling, preparing to put humanity in its place. But Samantha allowed herself a small, defiant smile. They had no idea what they were in for. Earth, the underdog of the galaxy, was about to show the universe what it was made of. The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the balance of power in the cosmos, and humanity, against all odds, was ready to fight back. The Council's ultimatum. The Galactic Council's grand chamber on the neutral world of Arcturus Prime buzzed with tension. Representatives from 1,000 worlds filled the vast amphitheater, their varied forms a testament to the diversity of life in the galaxy. At the center, the Council of Seven, the most powerful beings in known space, convened to discuss the growing Earth problem. High Councillor Zix, a being of pure energy contained within a crystalline matrix, addressed the assembly. "Esteemed colleagues, we face an unprecedented situation. The humans of Earth have rejected our ultimatum. They refuse to halt their technological advancements and submit to our authority." Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the chamber. Earth, a mere century after achieving faster-than-light travel, daring to defy the Galactic Council. It was unheard of. Councillor Drekthar, a hulking reptilian from the warrior culture of Sartos, growled in frustration. "This is why we should have never admitted such a primitive species into the galactic community. They lack the wisdom to wield advanced technology responsibly." "Perhaps," interjected Councillor Elara, her ethereal form shimmering with bioluminescence, "we have underestimated them. Our reports indicate significant leaps in their capabilities, far beyond what should be possible given their current level of development." High Councillor Zix's crystalline form pulsed with concern. "Precisely why we must act now, before they become a true threat to galactic stability. The humans' rate of progress is alarming. If left unchecked, they could upset the balance we've maintained for millennia." As the Council debated, light years away, the Earth Defense Fleet assembled in high orbit. General Akira Tanaka stood on the bridge of the EDF Defiant, the first warship fully equipped with quantum flux technology. Through the viewscreen, she watched as hundreds of ships took formation, a mix of older vessels hastily retrofitted with new tech and gleaming new designs that had been under development in secret for months. Status report, Tanaka barked, her eyes never leaving the impressive display before her. Colonel Jared Hawkins, her second-in-command, responded crisply. All ships report ready, General. Quantum flux shields are operational across the fleet. Weapon systems are online and at full capacity. Tanaka nodded, a grim smile playing at the corners of her mouth. Let's hope it's enough. Back on Earth, in the fortified bunker beneath Geneva that served as humanity's command center, President Amelia Clark and the United Earth Council monitored the situation. Dr. Samantha Chen stood nearby, ready to provide technical expertise if needed. Madam President, a communications officer called out, "We're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council fleet. They're requesting to speak with you directly." Clark straightened her jacket and nodded. "Put them through." The main screen flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Fleet Admiral Krovac, Supreme Commander of the Galactic Council's forces. His 4 eyes narrowed as he regarded the human leader. "President Clark," he began, his translator converting his clicks and whistles into crisp English, "I will give you one final opportunity to reconsider your position. Submit to the Council's authority now, and we can avoid unnecessary bloodshed." Clark met his gaze unflinchingly. "Admiral Krovac, we have considered your demands carefully, and our answer remains unchanged. Earth is a sovereign world, and we will not be bullied into giving up our right to self-determination or technological progress." Krovac's mandibles clicked in irritation. "You fail to understand your position, human. Our fleet outguns yours 100 to 1. You cannot hope to resist." "Perhaps," Clark replied, a hint of steel in her voice, "it is you who fails to understand, Admiral. We may be younger than many species in the galaxy, but we are not to be underestimated. If you choose to attack, you will find us more than capable of defending ourselves." The alien admiral's eyes widened slightly, a flicker of uncertainty crossing his features. "You would risk the total destruction of your world. For what? Pride? For freedom, Admiral. For the right to shape our own destiny." Clark's voice rang with conviction. "We do not seek conflict, but neither will we shy away from it. The choice is yours." With a dismissive gesture, Krovac cut the transmission. The bunker was silent for a moment, the weight of what had just transpired hanging heavy in the air. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her voice soft but determined. "Madam President, I have an idea that might give us an edge, but it's risky. We've been working on a way to use the quantum flux technology to create localized spacetime distortions. In theory, we could use it to disrupt the Council fleet's formations, maybe even disable some of their ships." Clark turned to her, hope and concern warring in her eyes. "What's the catch, Doctor?" "It's never been tested on this scale," Chen admitted, "and using it could reveal the full extent of our technological advancements. If it works, it could win us the battle. If it fails, we'd lose our ace in the hole." General Tanaka finished, her holographic form shimmering beside them. President Clark closed her eyes for a moment, weighing the options. When she opened them, her decision was clear. "Prepare the system, Dr. Chen. General Tanaka, be ready to deploy on my command, but hold it in reserve. Let's see how we fare with our conventional defenses first." As the Earth Defense Fleet took up defensive positions around the planet, the Galactic Council Armada emerged from hyperspace. Thousands of ships, from nimble fighters to massive dreadnoughts, filled the sky. The sight was meant to inspire awe and terror, to crush any thought of resistance. But the defenders of Earth stood firm. Admiral Krovac's voice boomed across all frequencies. "Forces of Earth, this is your final warning. Stand down and prepare to be boarded, or we will open fire." General Tanaka's response was succinct. "Come and try." For a moment, the vacuum of space seemed to hold its breath. Then, with a flash of energy weapons and a streak of missiles, the battle was joined. The first volley from the Council fleet was devastating, designed to overwhelm Earth's defenses in one crushing blow. But as the energy beams and projectiles reached the planet's orbit, they met an unexpected resistance. The quantum flux shields flared to life, absorbing and dissipating the attack with an efficiency that left the alien forces stunned. Aboard his flagship, Admiral Krovac stared in disbelief. "Impossible," he muttered. "Sensors, report. What kind of shielding technology are they using?" His science officer, a spindly being with multifaceted eyes, worked frantically at his console. "Unknown, Admiral. Our databases have no record of defensive capabilities this advanced. It doesn't match any known energy signature." Krovac's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation. "Increase power to all weapons. Concentrate fire on their largest vessels. They can't possibly maintain such shields for long." But as the battle raged on, Earth's defenses held. The quantum flux-enhanced ships of the EDF darted between the lumbering Council vessels, their advanced propulsion systems allowing for maneuvers that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Strikes that should have vaporized the human ships merely glanced off their shields, while return fire from Earth's fleet punched through the Council's own defenses with alarming effectiveness. In the Geneva bunker, President Clark watched the unfolding battle with a mixture of pride and trepidation. "They're holding their own," she murmured, almost in disbelief. Dr. Chen nodded, her eyes glued to the tactical displays. "The quantum flux technology is performing beyond our highest expectations. But, Madam President, we're not out of the woods yet. The Council fleet still outnumbers us significantly." As if to underscore her point, a massive Council dreadnought broke through the Earth defense line, its weapons charging for a planet-killing strike. "General Tanaka," Clark called out, her voice steady despite the dire situation, "deploy the spacetime distortion weapon." Aboard the EDF Defiant, Tanaka gave the order. "Activate Project Singularity." A series of sleek, unassuming satellites scattered throughout Earth's orbit suddenly pulsed with energy. For a brief moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then space itself appeared to ripple and twist around the Council's dreadnought. The massive ship's weapons fizzled out as localized pockets of warped spacetime played havoc with its systems. Smaller vessels caught in the effect spun out of control, their crews unable to compensate for the bizarre gravitational fluctuations. Admiral Krovac watched in horror as a third of his fleet was effectively neutralized in a matter of minutes. By the cosmic flames, he swore, using an oath so old its origin had been lost to time. What manner of weapons are these humans wielding? As the tide of battle decisively turned in Earth's favor, Krovac was faced with a decision he never thought he'd have to make. With a heavy heart, he opened a channel to General Tanaka. "This is Admiral Krovac of the Galactic Council Fleet," he announced, his voice strained. "We request a ceasefire to discuss terms." On the bridge of the Defiant, Tanaka allowed herself a small, fierce smile. "Acknowledged, Admiral. Stand by for coordinates for a neutral meeting point." As the guns fell silent and the glare of energy weapons faded from space, the defenders of Earth realized they had done the impossible. They had stood against the might of the Galactic Council and emerged victorious. But all knew this was only the beginning. Earth had revealed capabilities that would send shockwaves through the galaxy. The political ramifications would be enormous, and the balance of power in known space had been irrevocably altered. As President Clark prepared to meet with Admiral Krovac to negotiate Earth's new standing in the galactic community, she turned to Dr. Chen. "Well, Doctor, it seems your quantum flux technology has changed everything. The question now is, where do we go from here?" Samantha Chen looked out at the stars, her mind racing with the possibilities and challenges that lay ahead. "Forward, Madam President," she said softly. "We go forward. A new galactic order. The neutral space station harmony, floating in the void between Earth and Mars, had never seen such a gathering. In its central conference chamber, representatives from Earth faced the delegation from the Galactic Council across a long, curved table. The tension in the room was palpable, a stark contrast to the serene view of stars visible through the station's panoramic windows. President Emilia Clarke sat at the center of the Earth delegation, flanked by General Akira Tanaka and Dr. Samantha Chen. Across from them, Admiral Krovac led the council representatives, his 4 eyes darting nervously between the humans and his own subordinates. High Counselor Zixt's holographic form flickered at the head of the table, serving as a mediator for these unprecedented negotiations. The crystalline being's voice resonated through the chamber as it spoke. "We have gathered here to address the recent conflict and to determine a path forward that ensures galactic stability," Zixt began. "The events of the past week have altered the balance of power in ways we could not have foreseen." President Clarke leaned forward, her gaze steady. "Indeed they have, High Counselor. Earth has demonstrated that we are not to be underestimated or controlled. We come to this table as equals, ready to discuss our place in the galactic community." Admiral Krovac chittered, a sound that his translator rendered as a scoff. "Equals? You may have repelled our fleet, humans, but you are still one world against 1,000. Do not overreach." "With all due respect, Admiral," Dr. Chen interjected, her voice calm but firm, "it's precisely that kind of thinking that led to this conflict. Our technology has proven to be on par with, if not superior to, that of the Council. It's time for a reevaluation of Earth's status." High Counselor Zixt's form pulsed, a sign of agreement. Dr. Chen is correct. The human's quantum flux technology represents a paradigm shift. We must adapt to this new reality. For hours, the negotiations went back and forth. Earth pushed for full autonomy and a seat on the Council, while the galactic representatives sought to maintain some level of oversight and control. As the talks stretched into their second day, it became clear that a compromise would be necessary. President Clarke, sensing an opportunity, made a bold proposal. "We understand the Council's concerns about rapid technological advancement and its potential to destabilize the galaxy. So, we offer this. Earth will share its quantum flux technology." A collective gasp went through the alien delegation. Admiral Krovac's mandibles clicked rapidly in shock. "Share? You would give away your greatest advantage." Clarke smiled, a hint of steel in her eyes. "Not give away, Admiral. Share, under controlled conditions. We propose the establishment of a new galactic science and technology exchange. All member worlds would contribute their knowledge and receive the benefits of collective advancement." Dr. Chen continued, elaborating on the President's idea. "This exchange would allow for the responsible development and distribution of new technologies across the galaxy. It would promote cooperation rather than competition, and ensure that no single world or species could dominate others through technological superiority." The Council representatives huddled together, discussing the proposal in hushed tones. High Counselor Zixt's hologram flickered as it processed the implications. "This is unprecedented," Zixt finally said, "but it has merit. A controlled sharing of technology could indeed promote stability and progress. However, the details of such an arrangement would need to be carefully worked out." Admiral Krovac, however, was not entirely convinced. "And what guarantee do we have that Earth won't continue to develop technologies in secret, maintaining an advantage over the rest of us?" General Tanaka, who had been silent for much of the negotiations, spoke up. "The same guarantee you have from any other world, Admiral. Trust, but verify. We're proposing transparency and cooperation, not submission. Earth will retain its right to self-determination and defense, as should all worlds." As the negotiations continued, news of the proposal spread rapidly across the galaxy. On countless worlds, beings of all descriptions watched and waited, sensing that a new era was dawning. On Earth, the public reaction was mixed. Many celebrated the planet's new standing and the potential for galactic peace. Others worried about sharing technology that had kept them safe. Protests and debates erupted in cities around the globe. Dr. Chen found herself thrust into the spotlight, called upon to explain the intricacies of quantum flux technology to a galaxy eager to understand. In a historic broadcast, simultaneously translated into thousands of alien languages, she addressed the citizens of Earth and the wider galactic community. Quantum flux technology, she explained, standing before a holographic model of swirling energy, harnesses the fundamental fabric of spacetime itself. It allows us to tap into the quantum vacuum, extracting virtually limitless energy. But more than that, it gives us the ability to manipulate the very laws of physics on a local scale. As she spoke, the hologram behind her shifted, showing applications from clean energy production to advanced propulsion systems, from impenetrable shields to the spacetime distortion weapon that had turned the tide of the recent battle. But this technology is not just a tool of war, Chen continued, her voice passionate. Its potential for peaceful applications is boundless. Imagine worlds transformed by clean, abundant energy. Vast distances in space crossed in the blink of an eye. Medical breakthroughs that could extend life and cure diseases once thought incurable. Her words resonated across the stars, inspiring hope and excitement in billions of beings. The idea of a galaxy united in the pursuit of knowledge and progress began to take hold. Back on the Harmony Station, the negotiations entered their final phase. The structure of the new Galactic Science and Technology Exchange was taking shape. Earth would indeed gain a seat on the Galactic Council, but with it came new responsibilities. Earth will serve as the headquarters for the exchange, President Clark announced. We'll construct a massive research and development complex, open to scientists and engineers from across the galaxy. Admiral Krovac, who had gradually warmed to the idea, nodded his approval. This arrangement is acceptable, but we must establish strict protocols for the development and testing of new technologies. We cannot risk another incident like the recent conflict. Agreed, Clark replied. We propose the formation of an ethics committee with representatives from diverse species and cultures to oversee all major research projects. As the final details were hammered out, a sense of historic change settled over the proceedings. The galaxy was entering a new age, one of unprecedented cooperation and shared progress. When the final agreement was signed, cheers erupted not just in the conference chamber, but on countless worlds across the galaxy. The image of President Clark and Admiral Krovac shaking hands, or in Krovac's case, extending a ceremonial tendril, was broadcast to trillions of beings. In the days that followed, the implementation of the new galactic order began in earnest. On Earth, construction started on the massive Galactic Science and Technology Exchange Complex. The sprawling facility, built on a previously uninhabited island in the Pacific Ocean, would soon house laboratories, lecture halls, and living quarters for beings from across the known universe. Dr. Samantha Chen found herself appointed as the first director of the exchange. As she stood on the bridge of a quantum flux-powered ship, preparing to embark on a galactic tour to recruit the best and brightest minds, she reflected on the momentous changes. We've opened a door, she mused to General Tanaka, who would be accompanying her as head of security. There's no telling where it might lead. Tanaka nodded, her usually stern features softening slightly. It's a brave new galaxy out there, Doctor. Let's hope we're ready for it. As Earth took its place as a full member of the Galactic Council, the planet buzzed with activity. Alien embassies sprang up in major cities, and humans began to venture out into the stars in greater numbers, eager to explore and learn. But not everyone was pleased with the new arrangement. In the shadows, both on Earth and on distant worlds, those who preferred conflict to cooperation began to plot. The peace and progress brought by the quantum flux revolution would face challenges in the years to come. For now, though, a sense of optimism pervaded the galaxy. Humanity had not only secured its place among the stars, but had also ushered in a new era of collaboration and shared advancement. The future, vast and unknown, beckoned with infinite possibilities. As Dr. Chen's ship engaged its quantum flux drive, preparing to leap across light years in an instant, she smiled at the thought of the adventures and discoveries that lay ahead. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity was at the forefront of this grand new chapter in cosmic history. The stars stretched into lines of light, and the ship vanished into the depths of space, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of a united galaxy. Shadows in the stars. 5 years had passed since the establishment of the Galactic Science and Technology Exchange, and the face of the galaxy had changed dramatically. Earth, once a backwater planet barely known beyond its own solar system, had become a hub of interstellar activity and innovation. The Exchange Complex, a gleaming metropolis of advanced laboratories and think tanks, dominated the Pacific island it had been built upon. Beings from 1,000 worlds walked its halls, worked in its labs, and shared ideas in its virtual conference rooms. The promise of shared technological advancement had ushered in an unprecedented era of cooperation and progress. Dr. Samantha Chen, now a respected figure across the galaxy, stood in her office atop the Exchange's central spire, gazing out at the shimmering force field that protected the complex from the occasional typhoon. Her desk was cluttered with holographic displays showing ongoing research projects and diplomatic communiques. A soft chime announced the arrival of her next appointment. "Come in," she called, turning from the window. General Akira Tanaka entered, her uniform crisp, but her face lined with concern. "Dr. Chen, we need to talk. There's been an incident." Chen's brow furrowed. "What kind of incident?" Tanaka activated a holographic display showing a distant star system. 3 days ago, a research outpost in the Vega system went dark. When the response team arrived, they found this. The hologram zoomed in, revealing a devastated space station. Scorch marks and debris floated in a silent tableau of destruction. "An attack?" Chen asked, her voice hushed. Tanaka nodded grimly. "It looks that way. But here's the strange part. The damage patterns match quantum flux weapons. Weapons that only we should have." Chen felt a chill run down her spine. "That's impossible. We've kept tight control over that technology. Every project is monitored, every test logged." "Apparently not tight enough," Tanaka replied. "This isn't the first incident, just the most severe. There have been reports of advanced tech showing up in the hands of fringe groups and mercenaries. The Council is getting nervous." Chen sank into her chair, her mind racing. "We need to investigate this immediately. If quantum flux technology has been leaked, the consequences could be catastrophic." As they discussed the situation, light years away, on a barren moon orbiting a gas giant, a clandestine meeting was taking place. In a hidden bunker, shielded from all known detection methods, figures from various species huddled around a table illuminated by harsh artificial light. A hulking Sartosian, his scales scarred from countless battles, growled in frustration. "The attack on the Vega outpost was sloppy. We nearly lost the prototype." A slender, shadowy figure at the head of the table raised a hand for silence. When it spoke, its voice was a sibilant whisper. "Peace, Drak-Thor. The mission was a success. We have proven that our reverse-engineered quantum flux weapons work. Now, we move to the next phase." The assembled beings leaned in, their diverse faces united in anticipation. "For too long," the shadowy leader continued, "the so-called Galactic Council has stifled true progress. They preach cooperation and shared advancement, but they fear the power of unfettered innovation. With Earth's technology, we will reshape the galaxy in our image." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the group. The leader activated a holographic display showing a familiar blue-green planet. "Our next target," it hissed, "is Earth itself." Back on Earth, the investigation into the Vega incident was in full swing. Dr. Chen had assembled a task force of the Exchange's top scientists and security experts. They worked around the clock, analyzing data from the attack and combing through records of every quantum flux project. In a secure conference room deep within the exchange complex, Chen briefed President Clark and the Earth's representative to the Galactic Council, Ambassador Lyra Nguyen. "We've confirmed that the weapons used in the Vega attack were indeed based on quantum flux technology," Chen reported, her voice heavy. "But they're different, cruder, more unstable. It's as if someone attempted to recreate our work without fully understanding the principles involved." President Clark's hologram flickered as she leaned forward. "Are you saying someone stole our research and is trying to weaponize it?" Chen nodded. "That's our current theory. We're still trying to determine how the information could have been leaked." Ambassador Nguyen, her face lined with worry, spoke up. "The political ramifications of this could be severe. Some council members already view Earth with suspicion. If they believe we've lost control of this technology, they might push to have Earth's council seat revoked." Clark finished, her expression grim. "Or worse, they could see us as a threat that needs to be neutralized." As the leaders discussed potential diplomatic strategies, General Tanaka burst into the room, her usually stoic demeanor shaken. "Madam President, Doctor, Ambassador, we have a situation," she announced, activating the room's main display. "We've detected multiple quantum flux energy signatures approaching the solar system. They're not ours." The display showed a swarm of unidentified ships, their energy signatures pulsing with ominous intent. "How many?" Clark demanded. "At least 50 vessels," Tanaka replied. "Possibly more. They're using some kind of cloaking technology, but our deep space sensors can detect the quantum flux emissions." Chen's mind raced. "They must be using an imperfect version of our phase shift technology. It's hiding them from conventional sensors, but not from the specialized equipment we developed to monitor quantum flux experiments." "Can we stop them?" Nguyen asked, her diplomat's composure cracking slightly. Tanaka's jaw set in determination. "The Earth Defense Fleet is mobilizing as we speak. We've also alerted our allies in nearby systems. But if these ships are equipped with advanced quantum flux weapons, we need to evacuate key personnel and research data," Chen interjected, "just in case." President Clark nodded, her hologram shimmering as she straightened to her full height. "Agreed. Initiate emergency protocols and send out a galaxy-wide alert. If Earth falls, the rest of the Council worlds could be next." As alarms blared across the exchange complex and throughout Earth's major cities, the planet's defenders rushed to prepare for the coming onslaught. Ships of the Earth Defense Fleet took up defensive positions, their quantum flux shields humming to life. Dr. Chen found herself in the heart of the exchange's secure data center, overseeing the backup and transfer of crucial research data. As she worked, she couldn't shake the feeling that she had missed something, some vital clue that could have prevented this crisis. "Dr. Chen," a voice called. She turned to see Dr. Zara Kvath, a brilliant Arcturian physicist who had been one of the exchange's first alien collaborators. "I think I found something." Kvath's tentacles danced over a holographic keyboard as she pulled up a series of data streams. "I've been analyzing the energy signatures of the approaching ships. There's something familiar about them." Chen leaned in, her eyes widening as she recognized the pattern. "That's impossible," she whispered. Before she could elaborate, the building shook with the impact of distant explosions. The battle for Earth had begun. In orbit, the Earth Defense Fleet engaged the mysterious attackers. Quantum flux-powered weapons, lanced across space, met by equally advanced countermeasures. It was a battle unlike any the galaxy had seen before, with the laws of physics themselves seeming to warp and bend under the strain of the clashing technologies. General Tanaka, commanding the defense from the flagship EDF Defiant, watched in a mixture of awe and horror as the enemy ships phased in and out of normal space, making them maddeningly difficult to target. "Status report," she barked. Her tactical officer, sweat beading on his brow, responded, "Our shields are holding, but barely. The enemy's weapons are incredibly powerful, but unstable. Several of their ships have already destroyed themselves from feedback overloads. Tanaka gritted her teeth. Keep pressing the attack. We need to buy time for the evacuation and for reinforcements to arrive. As the space battle raged, the shadowy leader of the attackers stood on the bridge of their flagship, watching Earth grow larger in the viewscreen. At last it hissed, the source of the quantum flux technology will be ours, and with it, the power to reshape the galaxy. But even as the words left its lips, alarms blared across the ship. What's happening? It demanded. A subordinate, panic in its voice, reported, Our weapons systems are destabilizing. The quantum flux reactors are overloading. The leader's eyes widened in sudden, terrible understanding. No, it can't be. Back in the exchange data center, Dr. Chen and Dr. Kavoth worked furiously, their fingers flying over holographic interfaces. It's working, Kavoth exclaimed. The failsafe is activating. Chen allowed herself a grim smile. I always hoped we'd never have to use it, but I'm glad we built it into every piece of quantum flux technology we ever created. As they watched, the energy signatures of the attacking ships began to fluctuate wildly. In orbit, General Tanaka stared in disbelief as the enemy fleet started to disintegrate, ships winking out of existence or exploding in brilliant flashes of light. Within minutes, it was over. The attack had been repelled, not by superior firepower, but by a hidden safeguard buried deep within the very technology the enemy sought to steal. As the dust settled and the all-clear was sounded, Dr. Chen found herself once again in a meeting with Earth's leaders and Galactic Council representatives. The mood was one of relief tinged with lingering tension. Explain to us, Dr. Chen, High Counselor Zix's hologram demanded, how this attack was possible and how it was defeated. Chen took a deep breath, knowing that her next words would shape the future of Earth and the galaxy. The attackers, she began, were using stolen and reverse-engineered quantum flux technology. But what they didn't know, what no one outside a select few knew, was that we built a failsafe into every piece of quantum flux tech we ever created. She paused, letting the implications sink in. This failsafe was designed to activate if the technology was ever used against its creators or in violation of galactic law. It causes a cascading failure in the quantum flux matrix, rendering the technology useless. The room erupted in a mixture of relief and outrage. Admiral Krovac, his mandibles clicking rapidly, spoke up. You kept this secret from the Council, from your own allies? President Clark stepped in. It was a necessary precaution, Admiral. One that, as we've seen, has saved not just Earth, but potentially the entire galaxy from a terrible threat. As the debate raged on, Dr. Chen found her mind drifting to the future. The attack had been repelled, but the consequences of this day would resonate for years to come. Trust had been shaken, secrets revealed, and the delicate balance of galactic politics thrown into disarray. But as she looked out at the stars, visible once again as the debris of battle cleared from Earth's orbit, Chen felt a glimmer of hope. They had faced a terrible threat and emerged victorious. Perhaps in the crucible of this crisis, a stronger, more united galaxy could be forged. The quantum flux revolution had brought challenges they could never have imagined, but it had also given them the tools to face those challenges. As the leaders of Earth and the galaxy debated the path forward, Dr. Samantha Chen allowed herself a small smile. The adventure, it seemed, was far from over. A new dawn. The aftermath of the attack on Earth sent shockwaves through the galaxy. In the weeks that followed, the Galactic Council chambers on Arcturus Prime were filled with heated debates and tense negotiations. Earth's revelation of the quantum flux failsafe had raised serious questions about trust and transparency within the galactic community. Dr. Samantha Chen found herself at the center of these discussions, called upon to testify before the full council. As she stood in the grand circular chamber, facing representatives from 1,000 worlds, she felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Dr. Chen, High Counselor Zixith began, its crystalline form pulsing with barely contained energy. Explain to us why Earth felt it necessary to keep this failsafe a secret from its allies and the Council. Chen took a deep breath, her voice steady as she responded. Honored Councillors, the decision to implement the failsafe was made in the early days of the Quantum Flux project, long before we joined the galactic community. It was born out of a very human fear, the fear that our creation might one day be turned against us. She paused, looking around the chamber. When we joined the Council and established the exchange, we debated revealing the failsafe, but we feared that making its existence public might prompt others to find ways to circumvent it, potentially leading to the very scenario we sought to prevent. Admiral Krovac, his mandibles clicking in agitation, spoke up. And yet, by keeping this secret, you've undermined the very foundation of trust upon which the exchange was built. How can we be certain there aren't other hidden aspects to this technology? President Amelia Clark, standing beside Chen, stepped forward. Admiral, distinguished councillors, we understand your concerns. That's why we're proposing full disclosure of all aspects of quantum flux technology, including the failsafe mechanism. Furthermore, we suggest expanding the failsafe to protect not just Earth, but all Council worlds. A murmur ran through the assembly. Councillor Elara, her bioluminescent form shimmering, asked, "And how do you propose to implement this expanded failsafe?" Dr. Chen activated a holographic display in the center of the chamber. We've developed a plan to create a distributed network of quantum flux nodes throughout Council space. These nodes would work in concert to detect any unauthorized or aggressive use of the technology and activate the failsafe if necessary. As Chen explained the technical details, she could see the mood in the chamber shifting. The fear and anger were giving way to curiosity and cautious optimism. High Councillor Zix's form pulsed thoughtfully. This proposal has merit, but its implementation would require unprecedented cooperation and trust between our worlds. Exactly, President Clark said, seizing the moment. This crisis has shown us both the potential dangers of advanced technology and the need for true unity in the face of threats. Let this be a catalyst for a stronger, more integrated galactic community. The debate raged on for days, but in the end, Earth's proposal was accepted. The next year saw a flurry of activity across Council space as the new Quantum Flux Security Network was established. Dr. Chen found herself traveling from world to world, overseeing the installation of the network nodes and training local scientists in their operation. It was exhausting work, but also exhilarating. She was seeing parts of the galaxy she had only dreamed of, and working with brilliant minds from countless species. On a distant world orbiting a binary star system, Chen stood with her Arcturian colleague, Dr. Zora Kavoth, watching as a local node came online. "It's beautiful, isn't it?" Kavoth said, her tentacles waving gently in appreciation. "Not just the technology, but what it represents. A galaxy truly united." Chen nodded, a smile playing at her lips. "It's more than I ever imagined when we first developed quantum flux tech, but there's still so much more to do, so much more to discover." As they worked, news came from across the galaxy of other breakthroughs spawned by the increased cooperation. A cure for a devastating plague that had ravaged several worlds was developed through a collaboration between Terran, Xenarian, and Vox-Tari scientists. A new form of terraforming, using precisely controlled quantum flux fields, was successfully tested on a previously uninhabitable moon. But perhaps the most exciting development came from an unexpected quarter. A joint team of human and Arcturian physicists, building on Dr. Chen's work, made a startling discovery. They found a way to use quantum flux technology to detect and communicate across parallel universes. The announcement sent shockwaves through the scientific community and beyond. The implications were staggering, entire new realms of existence, potentially with their own civilizations and technologies, lay just beyond reach. Dr. Chen found herself once again before the Galactic Council, this time presenting the findings of the parallel universe research. The chamber was packed, with additional holograms of interested parties from across the galaxy floating above the regular seats. What we've discovered, Chen explained, her voice filled with barely contained excitement, is that the quantum foam that underlies our universe is just one layer of a much larger multiverse structure. By precisely tuning our quantum flux fields, we can detect vibrations from these other universes and potentially even transmit signals to them. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of questions and exclamations. High Councillor Zix had to call for order several times before the assembly calmed. Dr. Chen, Zix said, its crystalline form shimmering with an intensity Chen had never seen before. Are you suggesting we could make contact with beings from another universe? Chen nodded. Theoretically, yes. We're still in the early stages of research. The potential is there. Of course, such contact would come with incredible opportunities and significant risks. The debate that followed was long and intense. Some councillors argued for proceeding full speed ahead, eager to explore this new frontier. Others urged caution, warning of the dangers of interfering with other universes or attracting the attention of potentially hostile extra-universal beings. In the end, a compromise was reached. Research into parallel universes would continue, but under strict oversight from a specially formed council committee. Any attempts at communication would require approval from the full council. As Chen left the council chambers, her mind was already racing with the possibilities. The universe, no, the multiverse, suddenly seemed so much larger, so much more complex and wonderful than they had ever imagined. Over the next few years, progress in quantum flux technology and its applications continued at a breakneck pace. The galactic community grew closer, bound together by shared discoveries and challenges. Earth, once an upstart newcomer to the galactic stage, was now recognized as a leader in scientific innovation and interspecies cooperation. On the 5th anniversary of the failed attack on Earth, a grand ceremony was held at the Galactic Science and Technology Exchange. Representatives from every council world gathered to celebrate their achievements and look to the future. Dr. Samantha Chen, now serving as the head of the council's science directorate, stood at the podium, addressing the assembled dignitaries and billions of beings watching the broadcast across the galaxy. 5 years ago, she began, we faced a crisis that threatened not just Earth, but the entire galactic community. We stood on the brink of a conflict that could have torn us apart. Instead, we chose unity. We chose trust. We chose to reach for the stars together. She gestured to the holographic display behind her, showing the vast network of quantum flux nodes that now spanned council space. This network represents more than just advanced technology. It represents our shared commitment to peace, progress, and mutual protection. The display shifted, showing images of the many breakthroughs achieved in the past 5 years, medical advancements, environmental restorations, faster-than-light communication relays, and more. But we're not stopping here, Chen continued, her voice filled with passion. As we speak, our scientists are probing the boundaries of our universe, reaching out to realities beyond our own. The multiverse awaits, filled with wonders and challenges we can scarcely imagine. She paused, looking out at the diverse assembly before her. Humans stood shoulder to shoulder with beings of every shape and description, all united in their quest for knowledge and understanding. There will be obstacles ahead. New threats may emerge. But I stand here today filled with hope and optimism, because I've seen what we can achieve when we work together. I've seen the power of shared knowledge and shared purpose. As Chen concluded her speech, the assembled beings rose in a standing ovation. The applause echoed through the exchange complex and across the galaxy. It was a moment of triumph, of unity, of possibilities realized and new horizons glimpsed. Later that evening, as the celebrations continued, Chen found a quiet moment alone on a balcony overlooking the exchange's vast grounds. The sky above was filled with stars, and she knew that orbiting the planet were ships from 100 worlds, their crews joined in friendship and common purpose. General Tanaka joined her, the old soldier's face softened by a rare smile. "Quite a speech, Doctor. You've come a long way from that secret lab in the Rocky Mountains." Chen chuckled. We all have, General. Sometimes I can hardly believe how much has changed. They stood in companionable silence for a moment, gazing at the stars. Finally, Tanaka spoke again. So, what's next? You've revolutionized energy production, faster than light travel, medicine. You've even peeked into other universes. What more is there? Chen's eyes twinkled with the same curiosity and excitement that had driven her all these years. Oh, General, she said softly, we've only just begun. The multiverse is infinite, and so are the possibilities. Our greatest adventures, they're still ahead of us. As if in response to her words, a shooting star blazed across the sky. Chen smiled, knowing it was likely one of the many ships coming and going from Earth, carrying beings from across the galaxy. Each one was a testament to how far they'd come, and a promise of the wonders yet to be discovered. The quantum flux revolution had transformed the galaxy, but its true legacy was the spirit of unity and exploration it had fostered. As Dr. Samantha Chen looked to the stars, she knew that humanity, and all the beings of the galactic community, were ready for whatever challenges and marvels the infinite cosmos had in store. The adventure, it seemed, would never truly end, and that was the most exciting prospect of all.